99.7 FM.
It's 1 o'clock and you welcome to the Joy Business Report. Outgoing World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte backs proposals for privatization of bills collection by Electricity Company of Ghana. Government advised to expand infrastructure and tourism sites across the country to encourage visitors move outside the national capital during the December in Ghana celebrations. And transport consultant Cecil Gabra pushes for decentralization of online registration of vehicles to all regional centers to check abuse. My name is George Uafe. Let's now settle for the details. Outgoing World Bank Country Director Frank Pierre Laporte says he backs proposals to privatize bill collections for the Electricity Company of Ghana. This is one proposal that has been put forward by the country's development partners to help deal with the company's challenges. But Mr. Laporte's Electricity Company refused to adopt it. He's been speaking to Joy Business on this development and other issues in the energy sector.
In the budget support, we have a pillar. We have four pillars. One is in the energy sector.
Okay.
And things that are being done. I'll just give you an example. I mean, now government has agreed with our proposal that all energy contracts, new contracts, should be done competitively.
No sole sourcing.
No sole sourcing, not negotiated, unless there's a crisis, a natural disaster. Because we all know when there's competitive bidding, chances of getting
lower price.
You push the price as low as you can, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And other things I talked about, improving reducing commercial losses through better collection, reducing technical losses through more investment in new lines. All of these are, I think, we're on a sound direction, and I believe that. We should be able to deliver this before end of June.
The bank has been on record in raising concerns about too much contracts that were signed in the past, too much contract being signed, and what attempts should be made to correct that perceived oversupply in the system.
Yeah. Look, what's been done is done. And again, I want to put on record here, I'm not blaming any government.
No, not blaming, I'm just,
Because both the previous government and this one entered into direct contracts, okay? You mentioned recently. This is why we insisted, we pushed very hard, that what is done in the past is done. What can be done about it? I think there's some renegotiation of contracts going on.
Outgoing World Bank Country Director Frank Pierre Laporte. Now, Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, says government should be swift in dealing with the exchange rate challenges. This, he says, will help stabilize the economy. He tells Joy Business the real sector will suffer if the fiscal situation does not improve.
Our problem that we are facing on the exchange rate on inflation is a fiscal problem. If we didn't spend so much, if we didn't borrow too much, if we didn't run so huge a deficit, Bank of Ghana wouldn't have a lot of work to do. So I believe they are doing what they have to do, but let's address the fiscal issues, and the monetary wouldn't be too much of a problem. But if we are having huge deficits and government has to borrow from the domestic market and offering higher interest rates, you and I have to borrow at high interest rates. So those are some of the inherent challenges. Let's address the fiscal problem. The fiscal is one of our major issues.
Professor Peter Korte is the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. Managing Director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Duafo, has advised government to invest in infrastructure projects outside the national capital to encourage visitors to see such places. The call has been influenced by the pickup in number of tourists arriving in Ghana for the December in Ghana celebrations. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Duafo said the private sector would then be encouraged to complement government efforts if he invests in roads and reduced infrastructure?
Cross infrastructure. If you go to tourist sites and the roads are bad and you can have toilet facilities and you don't have this, you don't have that, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Okay, so it's a two-way affair. Government can come in there or has to come in there, and private sector must also join in. But if the majority of it lies in the hands of the government, because they are supposed to see to certain things like infrastructure, like roads, okay, like providing electricity to certain places, like providing water to certain places. So it makes life easier for the investor to also, or the private person, to also build upon that. But if these things are not done, it's difficult to invest in those areas that we have in abundance here in this country as tourist sites. Okay. Otherwise, we'll continue to mark time and we'll continue to be talking with our mouths like we do in Ghana. We should stop the talking and do the work.
Managing Director of Labadi Beach Hotel, David Eduafo. Now, transport consultant Cecil Gabra has called for the decentralization of online registration of vehicles at the Driver, Vehicles and Licensing Authority offices across the country. According to him, not only will it save time and curb activities of middle and people known as Goro Boys, but also raking more revenue to the state.
But again, there should be more to it. What about the other regions? Because people find it much more easier to travel to Winneba, to Tema, and so on to get their documents done. But if the digitalization will be extended to all the regions, I am very sure, equally sure that we will save a lot of monies that are being leaked to these Goro Boys. It is a fact. And we need to all work together to curb this issue of leakage.
And that is a transport consultant, Cecil Gabra. Now let's talk about food chain. And have you expressed worry about where you buy your meat because you didn't know where the animal was slaughtered? Today, many abattoirs in the country are having the challenge of not meeting the standard hygienic conditions. Today on Food Chain, Emma Davis visits Paps Foods to understand what these companies are doing to fill in this gap in the meat industry.
Isaac Kinti is a meat enthusiast who believes that Ghana's meat industry can compete on the international market if more investments are done. He believes in the saying, health is wealth, hence establishing Paps Foods Limited to serve Ghanaians meat that has great hygienic processes.
If you look at the industry as of sometime 2019 thereabout, the deficit we had in Ghana is about 115,000 metric tons. That's a huge one for me. Now, talk of filling that gap and making Ghanaians believe in the Made in Ghana brand such as Paps Foods Limited, you would only have to do it and do it right. You would have to do it with quality in mind. You would have to do it with hygiene in mind. You would have to do it with safety in mind. The Ghanaian is looking for these things. And so if the Ghanaian can get all these in Ghana, why not? Most importantly, it must be affordable, because one of the things that people will tell you is that, oh, made in Ghana goods are expensive. We wanted to create a processing unit that will move off from your regular buy meat by the street. You can't even tell where the meat is coming from and all that.
Isaac says despite the impact of high cost of feed on the firm's operations, his aim is to satisfy customers, hence absorbing all extra costs.
Feeding plays a critical role in raising livestock, and so the right feed matters. And the kind of processing we do or the meat that we use has got certain requirements. It must come at a certain tenderness and all that. And so giving the livestock the right feed matters. Increase in the cost of the feed increases the cost of the livestock. Apart from even the increase in the cost of the feed, it is not even available. There is a huge deficit that our farmers keep talking about. It has affected us, but as a business person, what matters is that you need to be innovative, you need to be able to go around the problem and make sure that your customer is happy, and at the same time, quality is there and everything.
Though being a young company that has been operating for a year, Isaac tells me some projects they have undertaken to provide some source of livelihood to the youth.
We're looking at expanding, and not just in the area of cow, goat, sheep, and the regular. We're looking at going into rabbit, grass cutter, and a couple of that. And so as young as we are as a company, we are committed to training as well. And in recent time, we have supported organizations to train the youth in agriculture, specifically to raise rabbit. And it's a 360. What's going to happen is that PABS is committed to training the youth in raising rabbit. When they learn, there's a starter pack for them as well. And then PABS Meat will come in as an off-taker as well. Wow. So we are not leaving the young men and women we are training just like. So by the time that the rabbit is ready, PABS will be there to get the rabbit, package it nicely, as it were, finish processing it, and then ready for Ghanaians.
That's it for Food Chain.
That's the end of the Joy Business Report. And remember, Food Chain comes your way every Thursday on the Joy Business Report and every Saturday at 6 p.m. on Joy News on Multi TV. But before we go, EcoBank Salary Account is a special account designed for workers of all income brackets desirous of receiving their salaries through EcoBank. With EcoBank Salary Account, you are guaranteed all the benefits of the normal savings and current account, plus many more. EcoBank Salary Account gives workers free life insurance cover up to 10,000 Ghana cedis, 24/7 access to cash and e-banking services, internet and mobile banking services, high interest on savings, no minimum balance, ability to save through EcoBank, save as you spend, a unique feature that helps customers to save and invest. Remember that insurance policies cover death, permanent or temporary disability, and critical illness, hospitalization and retrenchment, and more. Savings and current account holders of EcoBank don't need to close their existing accounts to enjoy the numerous benefits of the EcoBank Salary Account. Just ask your branch to switch your existing account to the EcoBank Salary Account. Non-EcoBank account holders should approach any EcoBank branch and ask with the EcoBank Salary Account to switch your salary account today and enjoy the amazing benefits at EcoBank. Call EcoBank toll free at 0800 00 3225. Wherever for your details. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.